Guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 11 on DraftKings is here, and I've got a first look video for you to take a look at everything that there is out there in NFL DFS this week on DraftKings. We're going to take a look at quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and try and piece together a tournament-based lineup where I'm going to double stack, bring back, and see what else we can do throughout here. Probably put in a secondary stack as well to build a tournament-based lineup with absolutely no research, just at kind of a first glance, because that's what I do on this video. Take a second. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, leave me a reply down below with who your favorite quarterback to stack is going to be this week, at least what you think your favorite quarterback to stack is going to be this week. And let's go.
He's a legend.
Go check out the Al Smizzle Fantasy Football channel, smizzle.tv/FF. That link will be down below in the pinned comment. Go drop a like on the pinned comment down below just to let me know that you see it. The recap video comes out every single Monday. You can see the week 9 recap right there. Here's a week 8 recap. And I got 4 more videos that come out on that channel every single week. So go check out Al Smizzle Fantasy Football. And we take a look back at the previous week. Every single Monday, I shout out the top 10 winners in the Smiz Gang Listener League, which you can find right here in that smizzle.tv/links. That will also be down below in the pinned comment. So you get 2 for 1 there. The league for this week in week 11 is 4,000 entries, $10 to enter. As always, no rake, the best tournament that exists on DraftKings, 3 max. So go to smizzle.tv/links and make sure that you enter today. If you go through the rewards and hit your missions, make sure that you can enter 1 a day for the next 3 days. You can triple your crowns that you get from that. Make this a negative rake tournament if you wanted to try and nickel and dime DraftKings every step of the way. Let's take a look at the slate this week. We have 11 games on it. Chicago, Atlanta, that game has a total of 49. That's high. I'm on board though, because these 2 defenses that aren't going to be able to stop each other, even though they have what seems like limited weapons offensively. It is what it is. Ravens favored by 12 over Carolina, total of 44 there. Browns and Bills, 9.5 for the Bills, 47 total. Washington and Houston, meh. Like, there's some games that just have really low totals, much more so than previous years. The scoring is way down in the NFL. This one has a total of 40. Philly, Indy, this could be a massive blowout. Philly favored by 9, 44.5. We'll see if Jeff Sunday can do very well for 2 weeks in a row. Jets against New England, total of 38.5. Yuck. Rams against New Orleans, it could be without Cooper Kupp for that one. 39.5 in this one. Saints favored by 3, also ew. Lions Giants, kind of like this game. We're gonna have to find ways to get onto that one later in the week. Las Vegas and Denver, there's 3 afternoon games. 41.5 here in Denver, gross. Cowboys Vikings, like this spot a lot. I suggest we find ways to get onto that one. Cowboys favored by 1.5. Vikings 47.5 is the total. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, total of 41.5. We'll see if Jamar Chase is ready to make his return this week, or if that's going to come week 13 or 14. Josh Allen's really good. Apparently, he's the Winter Soldier with a robotic arm, because even with a UCL injury, they're like, he's fine. Just let him throw it 43 times. He'll still have 25 DraftKings points. What a human. What an amazing human he is. It's fantastic. Lamar Jackson coming back off a bye week. Remains to be seen which one of his wide receivers are going to be healthy. Again, he can't catch a break. Last year, he was completely injured. This year, he starts off really, really like on fire. And now he's got Devin Duvernay leading the line. Deshaun Jackson had 2 targets last week. Robinson with 4 targets. It's massively gross. Likely has filled in. He's only 3,600. Should be extremely popular this week. And we'll see if Mark Andrews is able to come back from the shoulder injury that he sustained before as well. The quarterbacks, though, because we want to focus on ones that have really high totals, if you wanted to play Jalen Hurts, I get it. If you wanted to play Justin Fields, the QB1 since like week 6, even though he's not throwing the ball, 24 or more DraftKings points each of the last 4 games, with 43 and 45 the trailing 2 weeks, has not thrown for 200 yards since week 5 against Minnesota. And in that week, he had like a 60-yard touchdown on the ground recalled for a penalty. I love the fact that they're running him this much, because the rush attempts give him this really elevated floor. He has actualized all of the ceiling as well, with the long touchdown runs and then the short touchdown runs in the other games. Just a tremendous athlete. Hopefully they spend the offseason getting him some more talent around him, one in front of him and then on the outside as well. They have tons of assets and $100 million in salary cap space. That's a conversation for the offseason. 7,600 this week. We've seen his salary come up from 5,200 to 53 to 65. Now he's in the range where he's got to perform for you. The floor is a lot thinner, because even if he scores, now he's got to score you like 22 plus, where if he scores you 19, 18, 17 points because he's not turning these runs into touchdowns and not completing for multiple touchdown passes, that could happen against Atlanta, who's allowed so many trips to the red. I think they've allowed the most red zone trips this year, and they're like worst in terms of defensive conversion rate. When teams get inside the red zone, teams are scoring like one of the top 4 or 5 in terms of touchdown scoring. I haven't looked at the folder this week that I get, the stat folder I get from ESPN, but like they're very, very bad as a team in terms of defense versus position, specifically red zone defense as well. But I said I wanted to focus on this game between Minnesota and Dallas. Because of the way that DraftKings has priced up the wide receivers, it's going to be difficult, at least on Monday, to stack this game by getting both of Jefferson and Lamb. It's not impossible. You can do it. The problem is that the tight ends are also priced up at 5,300 and 4,300. Hawkinson, since coming over from Detroit to Minnesota, has gotten 19 targets in 2 games, although all of the targets he's gotten are different on this team than he was getting when he was on Detroit. A lot lower ADOT, a lot different type of conversion rate, but in DraftKings full PPR with bonuses, those low ADOT targets are just money in the bank. Really high floor moving forward for TJ Hawkinson. He is their number 2 targeted guy the last couple of weeks. If you wanted to play him, I'm fine with that. Gonna be tough to get to these two, even if I go with Kirk Cousins and get 500 in savings. Instead, I'm gonna eschew Justin Jefferson from this lineup. I'm gonna go with a Dak Prescott stack, bring it back with TJ Hawkinson, go with CeeDee Lamb, and I'm gonna play Gallup along with him to try and get a little bit of savings. He's gotten 13 targets their last 2 games that he's played. A little bit of a scare last week as he left that game early, but he came back and still logged 4 catches on 7 targets. I know that you don't think that it has the ceiling. Obviously, he doesn't have a higher floor and ceiling as somebody like JJ, but we're saving $5,000. So like it's $4,000 from one to the other. So like it's a big difference in what we're allowed to do with the rest, or what we will be allowed to do with the rest of our lineups. At the top end, Saquon Barkley, nobody's getting as much volume as him on this slate. Like he's in a class by himself. Another 36 opportunities, 25 the week before, 28 the week before, 25 the week before. This entire offense is him. And fortunately, Saquon Barkley is also him. So it works. He's getting, I think, the 4th most goal line carries inside the 5, carries that originate from inside the 5-yard line. He has scored exactly the amount of touchdowns that he should be scoring, has that big playability with a 20 or more yard run 3 of the last 5 weeks. He can break that big one for a big splash, and Detroit has been the team that we've attacked pretty much all year long. If you want to pay up for him, if you can't afford it, go for it. DraftKings, though, has really tightened the screws on us once again and made it very difficult to pay up. So I have to find a couple of value plays at running back. I do like Miles Sanders, though there is a very big gap between his floor and his ceiling. Has to score touchdowns for you because he's not going to get any targets. This does not include the Monday night game, but the trailing 3 weeks that they have played, weeks 9, 8, and 6, he has logged 1 target total in those 3 weeks. He has been inefficient when he's been targeted in the passing game, and he's getting a lot of good volume on the ground as they do play from ahead, especially the last 4 or 5 games, but like tough to get there. Don't know if Pollard's going to be a play or not. We have to wait and see because, you know, he's completely dependent on Ezekiel Elliott and his availability. He has been a monster the last 2 times, still priced at 6,500 because Zeke was very close to coming back, and I believe that DraftKings believes that he will be back in that game. Dameon Pierce against Washington and at home is the main focal point of this offense at 6,500, but I need a little bit more savings, and you know who the cover boy was. We're going to go with Cordero Patterson against Chicago's very, very porous defense. Anytime that I can play running backs against the Chicago Bears, I want to play running backs against the Chicago Bears, and this week is going to be no different. Yes, I know he's coming off of a bad game against Carolina, who we also tend to target with opposing running backs, but now he's a couple of weeks back from that injury and should be able to go with a full workload. And for those of you who care about such things, Cordero wants to do well for his fantasy managers. He has even tweeted out, "I'm sorry, fantasy guys, I got to do better for you." So, like, at least we know that Cordero has your back. And I believe that this is going to be a game that he is going to do a much better job of having your back, as Chicago can't stop nobody, and neither can Atlanta. This game has massive shootout potential. 20 opportunities could be incoming, with one of the highest totals on the slate in a game that has a 3-point spread as well. The next running back is kind of gross. I will admit it. Okay. The one I'm picking is kind of gross. It's not David Montgomery. I'm not going to play two running backs from the same game in a first look lineup. Although, monitor the injury to Herbert this week. If Herbert is out, then David Montgomery takes a step forward in terms of his market share of the running back snaps and touches projectably for Chicago. Herbert left the last game on Sunday with a hip injury. Just watch it. I'm not saying it's 100% going to be a thing that happens, but if he is out, David Montgomery then becomes the thing. Swift, this is frustrating as hell. DeAndre Swift played like 30% of the snaps. Jamal Williams played like 50% of the snaps, and they just gave somebody else. Like, it's gross. At least we know Jamal Williams. I'd probably at this point rather play Jamal Williams than DeAndre Swift, because at least we know when they get touchdown opportunities, he's going to be the guy that gets them. But the fact that he only got like 50 to 55% of the running back snaps yesterday for the Lions is just disgusting. They do play against the Giants this week. We'll see how that goes. Where am I going to go, though? Probably Kenyon Drake for this lineup. Massive volume coming his way in an offense that should be playing from ahead against a defense that we want to stream running backs against. He's been quite good. 3 of the last 4 weeks, 16.7 or more DraftKings points. Heightened touchdown expectation. Has gotten us the 100-yard bonus. Got very close. He's looked very spry when he's been handed the ball. So we have that opportunity. Monitor the Gus situation, obviously, as they could be getting guys back, but 5,900 for the first look lineup is more than good enough, and running back value will open up along the way. Let's plug in a cheap defense before we get to the secondary stack. Fine. Steelers at home against Cincinnati. Great. 2,300. We'll monitor defenses. We'll look closer at that once Best Buys comes out on Thursday, and then get there. That leaves us with 5,500 to go. I want to look at high totaled games to find a secondary stack that has upside and could make sense for us to be able to go out and get something, right? So I want to find something. So I want to go through the Winter Soldier. And Gabe Davis, solid amount of targets, 21. If we're going to get 7 targets a week, he does have a big difference between his floor and his ceiling. He caught a ball late in that game. I use air quotes because he did not catch that ball, but like, it doesn't matter. If the cop didn't see it, I didn't do it. And Gabe Davis, the cop didn't see him drop that ball on the sideline. So that kept moving. 6,300 for the 30-point plus ceiling that he brings to the table for tournaments. That's all I care about. I don't care about floor. Gabe Davis is not a cash game play, right? He's not somebody that you want to plug in your cash game lineups, specifically not at 6,300. But for tournaments, playing along with Josh Allen, as long as you're tied to him, great. And they did not price up my man, Donovan Peoples-Jones, coming off of a 9-target, 99-yard week with multiple end zone targets that will not show up on the stat sheet because one of them was a DPI. I love the way that they are deploying Donovan Peoples-Jones, and we are absolutely starved for wide receiver value on DraftKings. 21% in the Millionaire Maker last week. He's going to be a very popular target once again, with double-digit DraftKings points in all of his last 4 games and like 29 targets over the last 4. The volume is more than sufficient. In fact, this is where Gabe Davis should be priced. The problem is he also gets these downfield throws, so we have big splash ability. 37, 37, 37, and a 38-yard long each of the last 4 games. Donovan Peoples-Jones is a perfect tournament play. Complements either your secondary stacks with Buffalo, or if you're double stacking through Josh Allen and want to bring it back with DPJ, I'm fine with it. That finishes off our lineup, leaves us with 200 left on the table if you wanted to spend elsewhere. So I've got a Dak Prescott double stack around Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, bringing that back with TJ Hawkinson. Secondary stack, Gabe Davis, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Cordero, and Kenyon Drake, both as one-off running backs against really weak opponents. And we've plugged in the Steelers defense against Cincinnati, whose offensive line has allowed a ton of sacks. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure that you jump in our Discord if you haven't already. It's smizzle.tv/Discord. If you become a channel member, $5 a month, you get access to all the VIP rooms in Discord. Surround yourself with 7,000 members in our Smizz Gang Discord, our partner Discord. So make sure you don't miss out. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.